She drives by and checks again, and sure enough, it's at this known crack house. It's parked there. She calls the police. The police come right as this guy's leaving with the car, and they proceed to chase him. Amazingly, in all of my car shenanigans, I've only had 2 cars stolen in my entire career as a car dealer and as a YouTuber, and dropping cars off everywhere, shipping them all over the country, maybe 1,000 cars at this point. Only 2, I count myself pretty lucky. One was pretty easy. It was somebody that stole keys off my desk from my car dealership and drove off in an Acura that was found a few days later by the police. Not a big deal there. He just parked it and took the keys with him and walked away. Thankfully, got that car back pretty easily. Got it back on the lot. No problems. No real drama with that one. But the ML55 saga was very well documented on my YouTube, and it was very, very dramatic. So I had this 2000 Mercedes ML55 AMG, and I felt like it was a really great value back then and still now, because you get that hand-built, normally aspirated AMG V8. Very robust, very bulletproof, transmission the same. And this is before air ride suspension and all the other gobbledygook that really complicated up Mercedes and made them pretty unreliable. These things are solid, tough workhorses with a low-range transfer case, so some off-road cred, but they're still, to this day, under $15,000 for a nice one, versus a G-Wagon, $50,000. And I get the G-Wagon's a lot cooler, has triple locking diffs and looks better, but the ML55 is an incredible value. I think I bought this one $6,000, $7,000, a little over 100,000 miles. Owned it for a year, and I bought this right as I started YouTubing, so I did a few videos on the car, and I had a CLK55 AMG at the time, so the same engine. It was cool to have that family, and the S600, my big silver elephant, so a great Mercedes 3-car garage right there with, I guess my grandmother's SL, so a Mercedes 4-car garage. I've owned more Mercedes as far as brands than anything else, but at the 1-year mark, I decided it was time to move along the ML55, and I was going to take some photos to put it up for sale, and I dropped it off at my car detailer, who is located in kind of sketchy, kind of not part of town, sort of right on the border. And he had shampooed the carpets. He didn't have an extractor, so his strategy to dry the cars out was to leave them running in his garage with the heater on. And this was a crime of opportunity, where somebody walked by, saw a ML running. Maybe he was in the bathroom, my detailer, or in his office or whatever. Saw that nobody was there, the car was running. He just jumped in and drove off. Whoever this crackhead was. Actually, I know exactly who he was, because I did a full social media blitz on this thing. First, I created a Facebook group called Find Hoovie's Mercedes and put it all out everywhere for me to help me find it. Put out a reward. It's a very distinctive color, this Mercedes, sort of a metallic brown. It sounds ugly what I'm calling it, but it's actually a very pretty color in person, and certainly the only ML55 in town. Not that Wichita's that big, but it's a pretty big city. It was obviously a very stressful thing at the time, because I needed to sell the car and get the money to pay for other things, and I couldn't turn it into insurance because it was a lower value car. I just did liability only because I didn't have my dealer's license at the time, and I had a Hoovie fleet, so I had to save money where I could, and the insurance was like $200 for 6 months on the car, and full coverage was $800, $1,000, so I didn't do it. So I was out. I was stuck. I blasted photos with the reward on social media posts everywhere, and even emailed the local news station saying, this YouTuber has had his car stolen, putting myself out to be a local celebrity, and I had, 30, 50,000 subscribers. And 2 news organizations actually came out and interviewed me about my stolen car. So it was hot. The police were looking for it. Everybody was looking for it. And I actually got a message late at night from a girl saying, I see your car right now. I know exactly where it is, and I know who has it. So in the middle of the night, I go pick her up, and we drive around to where the car was supposed to be, but it's not there. We go to a few other spots where this guy is supposed to be, and it's not there. The thing is, he's driving it around, and he's showing it off and telling people that he's gotten himself clean, gotten his life together, and scratched together enough money to buy this Mercedes. And he's using it to try and attract women with this story. But really, he's just living out of this car, doing who knows what, and just driving around joyriding the heck out of this thing. He was so brazen about his theft, he also posted on social media, posing with the car saying, "Look at my new ride." Drove over to his father's house, showed it to him, told him, "Hey, look at my new car." But I got to see this picture on Facebook of him that was shared by his friends because I put out an APB on the car on all social media, and he's posing against it like he just got himself a car legitimately and was using it to show off. And I couldn't believe how brazen this guy was. So the next morning, she drives by and checks again, and sure enough, it's at this known crack house. It's parked there. She calls the police. The police come right as this guy's leaving with the car, and they proceed to chase him. They chase him for several miles, but he runs some red lights. He's going to kill somebody, so they break off the pursuit. They find him again, same thing. He blows through red lights. They break off the pursuit. So I think the car is totally gone again. I'm getting phone calls about this and all the stuff that's happening. This is all on Easter weekend with the family. And finally, I get the call on Easter Sunday, and they say, "We have found your car, but it is buried in the woods." It's buried in the woods? What do you mean? So they give me an address, and I go out there, and somebody was walking their dog in a vacant lot in a field, and there's this thick tree brush. And he saw that in this row of trees, which some of these trees are, pretty darn thick, maybe baseball bat thick, that a whole row had just been mowed down like it had been bulldozed. And he was kind of curious, and he walked back about 50 yards, and the car turns off, and there's an ML55. And he stops. And he thinks there might be a body in there, like it's been dumped. There's something really bad going on. So he doesn't go and investigate. He just calls the police. The police come and find the car. Somehow this ML55 had managed to plow through trees, some of them this thick, mow them all down for about 50 yards, and then turn right before it finally got stuck high-centered on the trees, and then was stuck there and obviously scratched to hell, but still in one piece. There was no getting out. I had to call my buddy with a chainsaw, a landscaper, to saw the thing out of there. And once we cleared the brush underneath it, I was more or less able to back the thing out from which it came in, and triumphantly the ML emerged. I had the second key, thankfully, to be able to start it up. And there's no check engine lights. It drives fine. The bumper, you would think, would be annihilated. It's plastic. It's not. It's totally fine. There's no mechanical issues at all. Other than the paint being scratched horribly, the thing is totally intact. There's also all of his clothes and underwear and some paraphernalia in the back that the police took out. So he was literally living in the car. But I had my ML55 back. And with a bumper respray and I think some cladding repainted and a really good buff, it looked as good as new, even though it was literally used as a bulldozer. And why this guy did it, he decided to ditch the car in the trees, I don't know. Probably because he thought it'd be funny, but also because the car was so hot and he'd been in 2 chases, he probably wanted to ditch the car to where people wouldn't find it for a while and he could walk away. I don't know why he did it, but it turned into a pretty amazing story and saga of recovering this car and fixing it back up and selling it to where it was a positive for me to be able to have this story on my YouTube channel. And I think it's sitting at 4 million views to this day, like my second most viewed video of all time, second or third.
Today's video is brought to you by Avalon King, and right now Avalon King is in the middle of their 4th of July sale, and they've got some amazing deals, including up to 50% off a limited selection of their products and some very special deals just for VINwiki viewers. The best of all is their Armor Shield 9 DIY ceramic coating. I've used it on my cars for years and I love it because it's so easy to install. One person can coat an entire car in about an hour and a half, including the wheels and glass and everything else. It's so easy to put on. They give you an applicator, they give you a microfiber cloth, and it is a wonderful, wonderful product. One of these little bottles is enough for a small to medium-sized car, but order 2 if you've got something big. Visit them at the link in the description below for special offers for our viewers, and coat your car with their AS9 DIY ceramic coating. You can even coat your shower doors and things like that. It makes water, dust, dirt, everything just feed right off.